Is Kit not coming along?
I haven't seen a response to a message
Okay.
since yesterday, so I'm sure we can get started since we're already kind of late. And um, if she joins, she can join.
Okay. So I don't see the Iron Man in the Dropbox.
Really?
It's actually also in Marvel Unlimited, that Iron Man.
Yeah, I put it up in Dropbox, episode 14, Iron Man 50. I put it in a folder,
Oh, there it is. Okay. Never mind.
yeah, to make it. Yeah, I started putting them in folders to organize them because
Yeah, I got a little bit of a.
sprawl.
Yeah.
But yes, that one is also in Unlimited, so it's not as.
Well, Jesse, care to start us off?
Yeah, let me just pull up the Iron Man and be ready. Yeah. What order are you guys going to introduce yourselves in so you know, not.
So we don't have the strange pauses.
That's a good
No.
idea, Jesse. Jeff,
Yeah.
you want to go first?
Sure.
Cool.
All right, and we are recording. Yes. Welcome to Cosmic Tales, episode 14, a Guardians of the Galaxy podcast. I'm Jesse Butler, and I'm joined with.
Jeff Davis.
And Keenan Kibrick.
So before we get started, we're going to try and change our format up a little bit and do more of a summary and commentary and less page by page. We would love to have feedback about what you guys think about our various formats and episodes. So remember, you can email us at guardians@cosmictales.com. So first, let's take a look at Iron Man 54. We are rolling back the clock to, this is actually before episode 2, so we can take a look at the origins of Moondragon.
The most Silver Age origins I think I have ever seen. And I don't know if
To
anybody else wants to agree with that, but I don't think there's anything more Silver Age than this comic right here.
be fair, this is the beginning of the Bronze Age, but
Wait, really? I thought Bronze Age was 80s. Is that...
oh, well, Bronze, Keenan, did you just cut off?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Bronze Age is technically 70 to 85, so our um, some people do it from when Kirby left Marvel to Crisis on Infinite Earths. So
But this, okay, then this is so beginning of Bronze Age, I guess, and still has very Silver Age roots to it, I would say, in this storyline.
yeah. So let's see. Okay, so this is before Starlin took over, or was because the next issue is 55, where Starlin introduces Drax. The credits for this issue is script Mike Frederick, pencils George Tuska, inks Vinnie Coletta, lettering Artie Simic, editing Roy Thomas, story and helping hand from Bill Everett.
Now help me get this, Jesse. Is this before the first Drax issue or after?
This is before. This is 54, which is Drax was on 55. So yeah, this is right
Oh.
before. But you'll notice this one has zero reference to um, Titan or Thanos.
Right, this is the origins of Moondragon, or in better terms, Madam McEvil.
Yeah. I mean, when we get to the Daredevil issues, they immediately get retconned slightly. But
Hmm.
uh, so yeah, so this issue, just to kind of give the short overview, there's a little bit of recap of whatever Iron Man was doing before, and then you skip over to some kind of mysterious, sort of sci-fi-ish looking sub, which launches a missile into the atmosphere, into orbit, which drops off a satellite, which is bigger than the rocket that drops it off. Don't ask. Um, and then it's revealed that inside the sub is a bald woman in very little clothing, but huge earrings.
Huge skull earrings.
Are they skulls?
That's how you know. That's how you know she's evil.
Wait, they're
Or
skulls? They
just
look like moons to me.
Yeah, they're just kind of round with dots. I didn't see skulls.
I thought I saw one of the panels. Oh, huh. Yeah, they look like planets, actually.
But regardless, this is the origin of what will be Moondragon, and starts off as Madam McEvil. Which, by the way, she says that in her first lines. Cold, you are truly colder than I. Your only interest is in experiments, Doctor. I prefer the name Madam Computer. Yes, by the way, she talks the entire time to her computer, named Computer. Uh, it rings so efficiently, Madam McEvil. Which, let's pause that. So she was originally supposed to be called Dr. McEvil, I'm guessing. But then they decided that it's better to be called Madam McEvil. She has, like, I don't know how to describe that as the best or worst choice of names, or just such a supervillain.
Yeah. I think I thought there were skulls in one of the panels because they had far enough away that it kind of looked like it. But yeah, they're just little planets.
Yeah, so anyway, this entire issue, she's in a sub talking to a computer. She's doing stuff to affect the outside world,
Well, we should stop.
but
The stuff she is doing to affect the outside world is very apparent really early on. She wants to have Iron Man and Namor fight each other, which really they don't really, do they give a really good reason? I'm trying to remember as I read it. They don't really even give a good reason of why, other than it's an experiment of hers. And her experiment is to watch Namor and Iron Man fight. And that is all. Like, it's just so, I don't know. It is
well,
so
no.
textbook. What?
The experiment is that Iron Man, she controls Iron Man and is trying to get Iron Man to capture Namor so she can perform experience on him. But that doesn't quite work that way.
So wait, like Iron Man. So she captures Iron Man using the satellite, right? Yes.
Yeah.
She launches a satellite into space that then takes control of the Iron Man suit, so she can then capture the Submariner to do experiments on him.
Yeah.
She is like totally winning for supervillain in some ways for me.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that she was intended to be a hero when they wrote this issue.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of this issue and her back and forth in it, I will say the best thing about this issue and worth reading, I think we can agree, is probably the dialogue between her and her computer, because her computer is a better villain than she is, and they bicker about how to do things all the time. And in fact, that's pretty much the point of her character at this point is who is smarter, Madam McEvil or her computer.
Yeah, and it's strange to both have a computer that's got its own sort of personality and her constantly belittling and berating it.
Exactly, Jeff. That's the best part. I love this panel with them, and it's her arguing with her computer. Our plan succeeds, madam. Namor succeeds swiftly in our direction. Your presumption irritates me. This experiment is Madam McEvil's alone. Do you hear me? Alone. But I allow you to affect me. That should not be. Like she is literally jealous of her ship's computer, and I'm thinking like, if you're, why would you have a computer that you are jealous of? This is just not good planning.
Well, and it just seems so strange that she's built this giant elaborate sub, which, by the way, has a minibar that she sits in front of.
I
And
totally forgot the minibar. I totally forgot that minibar. That's the best part. You're right. It has like a gin and a mixer and everything.
yeah, and she even throws it. But yeah, she's got this computer that I'm assuming she either had a hand in building or stole from somewhere.
It says she built it.
Okay, yeah, see, and it's so she built and programmed this computer to be the way that it is, and then proceeds to constantly belittle and berate it and say that it's a terrible piece of technology and she wishes she didn't have to use and or rely on it. That that just seems very strange.
No, you're right, Jeff. That's exactly it. I mean, listen to this like dialogue between them. Oh, the joy, the impending sheer joy that only success can bring. And this is, by the way, once again, Madam McEvil. I wish I had a good feminine voice, but I just don't. I possess the wealth, and fame is meaningless to me. There is only the thrill of knowledge explored and discovered. which, by the way, apparently Knowledge and Discovery is seeing can Iron Man beat up Namor to capture him. Like, by this point, it doesn't even look like it's to capture Namor, it's just to watch them fight and enjoy that it's working. But then she goes, "Isn't that so, computer? Don't blink like a mute, speak! You had ordered me silent, Madam McEvil. But I must admit there will be a triumphal thrill soon. That is, if what? If we cooperate, recognize each other's worth." And like you just tell a computer the whole time is like, include me.
Well, and like for instance, first of all, she sends Iron Man underwater after Namor, directing the computer to force him to fight him until he's subjugated. Um, and then Iron Man proceeds to start drowning because, of course, he just has slits in the mask. And then Madame Evil is all, "This is your fault. He's drowning." You told him to go underwater.
Yeah, I'd say Madam McEvil is not the. She's like that supervillain that blames everything on the henchman, right? Like, never anything could be her fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that textbook villain. It's like nothing I do is wrong. It's all your fault, computer. Even if I tell you to do it, and the computer acknowledges it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like this particular section, "You're doing this to spite me, computer. Order Iron Man to eject the water in his suit and shield off the rest. Is that possible?" "Yes, Madam McEvil, by pushing your control button and issuing those orders."
Yes,
So
you're right.
she clearly has the technology to be able to build this computer, access Iron Man's onboard computer, and control him. Yet she doesn't understand the capabilities of his suit, and she's asking her computer that she's belittling constantly if she can do a task, and the computer says, "Yeah, just push the button and order the task."
And I also noticed just now how much she talks in the royal we too, while she does this whole thing. Like, by the way, while this is all going on, and we're talking all this pointing stuff about Madam McEvil just so we can get this to Moondragon, I think we should also say there's just a giant fight between Iron Man and Submariner going on this entire time. Like, it doesn't need to be described. It's just a giant fight that goes underwater, above water, everywhere. That
Yeah,
is what's going on. Hmm?
smashing into ships, doing all this
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
exactly. Saving people in the middle of it. I think there's a part where they save a bridge or no, a ship. Which, by the way, there's a hilarious part earlier, which I find that like Namor saves a ship that's drowning and then manages in enough time to make a raft out of the like giant planks of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a boss. Um, but even this part, like where she goes, "Iron Man rebels, but he shall not succeed. Madam McEvil wants Submariner, and she shall have him. Renew our offensive, Iron Man. I demand it." Like, Iron Man can't even hear her. Iron Man doesn't even know it. She's just so royal we about herself.
She is, yeah. And
Such a gone.
side bizarreness is Iron Man saying, if he can just will it, he might be able to overcome the commands, which further exacerbates a clear misunderstanding of how computers work.
Yes,
You can't
yes,
just
they all
will your
do.
computer to do things for you because reasons.
And let's actually go into that because Madam McEvil can't seem to get her own computer with AI to do things with the will of it. So let's just think how that would work with Iron Man without the ability of AI. Like, she can't even get her own computer to do anything.
And this reaches a full thing where Madame McEvil actually winds up hitting the computer, which again, you built it and the submarine, I think you would understand that smacking your computer's interface is not going to make it do things.
You're right. She does smack it in the face.
Yeah, she just smacks it. And then when Iron Man manages to assert a small amount of control and damage the ship, she continues to blame the computer that says, "No, if you'd let me have complete control instead of trying to usurp me, we would not be suffering this ignoble fate. You should trust computers, not condemn them."
Computer, you're full of
Words.
garbage.
Yeah. Garbage in, garbage out.
Words to live by. I
Uh,
wonder if there's this trying maybe in its own way to have a whole like, philosophical discussion in computers, like subtly in there. Or did they just want to have a fight between the two?
I'm guessing this because they did
Well,
earlier
she
on they did a lot of this whole scientists and science is more important than, just gumption and
Hmm.
stuff. So maybe it's a little bit of a reflection of that. But yeah, it would make a lot more sense if Madame McEvil hadn't built this sub but had instead stolen it or something. Because then this would at least make a certain amount of semi-comedic sense. Like this is
And
a person desperately trying to be a supervillain who doesn't quite understand how all this works. And
yeah,
so, yeah, but instead we've got somebody who supposedly built all of this and developed all of this, yet doesn't seem to really have a firm grasp on how this all works.
maybe it is the opposite as I look at the last page of it. Maybe it's because she's just kind of drunk while she's doing this. Because at the end, you're right, she does throw her bottle of alcohol, and she says, like, on her very much, as you said, her nice little bar table right next to her, which is, by the way, a very nice. I like it. It's like one of those like very loungy bar tables because it's on the floor. Like that's the thing I noticed most. It is on the floor, and
Mhm.
it goes, "I still live, though defeated, but I shall surface again and resume my experiments." Which I kind of like the idea. It'd be even funnier if, like, the origins of Moondragon is not only is she a super scientist, but she's a drunk, raging super scientist. So that's actually maybe where it all comes from. And it could explain her bad relationship with Drax, the Destroyer, that, like, I don't know, estranged father, so she turns to alcohol.
Maybe so. Or maybe the reason she was evil was because she was drinking. She's just that belligerent of a drunk. And then when
maybe.
she actually becomes a quote unquote good person, it's because she, is on the wagon. And when she does evil stuff, it's because she falls off the wagon.
This makes so much more sense for Moondragon. I mean, or not, because she becomes an Avenger and lots of other things and becomes a crucial character in so much story. But at least her origin is now how we think it.
Yeah.
Headcanon.
So, uh, let's go ahead and move on to the Daredevil issues because we got a lot to cover.
Hmm.
Is there anything you want to talk about this, Jesse? I realize we totally had this one, but is there anything you want
No,
to say about?
I'll just say, I mean, yeah, like I said, it was amusing to read the dialogue and banter between Madame McEvil and her computer. The whole issue is just an excuse to have Namor and Iron Man fight, but it doesn't have a whole lot of deeper meaning.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Oh,
are you there, Jesse?
105.
Jesse, I think you broke up during that whole thing. Was that you or me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was probably just a lag spike.
Okay.
Yeah, I could hear you. All right, what did I say? I'll just start over. So, Daredevil 105, we are joining a story kind of in progress. There's a lot of stuff going on with Daredevil that we're not going to talk too much about.
And let's start at the beginning, where I even love the first page of it, where it does show her again. And now I know, as you said very quickly, they will retcon this to being Moondragon. But at least the first page, it is still Daredevil, meet Madame McEvil's terrible trio. She is still completely that same Madame McEvil.
Yeah, well, that's the
But
cover, and covers of this era lie.
yes.
Particularly considering we start off with Daredevil fighting Craven, but that's the previous story.
Yeah, so the last.
Did Jesse cut out for you too, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Jesse, I do not know what is with your internet, but you just completely cut out.
I think this
And
recording is
Jess
cursed.
and Jesse needs to start these things because we don't know where to begin with this without him introducing it. Then we can have our tirade about this thing and Moondragon. Doo-doo-doo. If not, we'll just start with it and go on from there.
Mm,
All right, so while technical difficulties are starting, we'll explain the issue and its people. I guess I'll do it this time. This is
okay.
Daredevil 105 with Steve Gerber writer, Don Heck artist, Don Perlin inker, June Braverman, and Janice Cohen are letterist and colorist, and Roy Thomas editor. And as was said, it starts with Daredevil and a fight and Black Widow, and you're right, they're fighting Kraven, and which I didn't know this before, that, like, there's a whole series. It's just called Daredevil and Black Widow, and I didn't realize forever that they were a team. So I was like, oh, cool. That's interesting knowledge.
Hmm. And it makes sense because they're both kind of practical heroes in that they don't have
hmm
extensive superpowers. They're
hmm
more of your street level types. So, um,
And yeah,
yeah.
pretty much. But it's cool to see Black Widow like that. I always thought she was always that Avenger person. So now it's just like, no, she's just a fighter with Daredevil.
Mm. Though she does have the 70s hair kick in there, which is a little strange to see on her.
Yes,
The
but
big
yet
long curls and everything. Yeah.
but she does still have that same at least Black Widow like awesomeness as like female independent character. So it's cool to
Mhm.
see that she's always kind of been that way.
So, what winds up happening is Daredevil gets thrown over the edge by Craven, dives between some rocks, and then winds up in some sort of strange hybrid Egyptian hieroglyphic type thing, but it's all metal and super new and realistic. Um,
Yeah, the
and
art in this place is awesome.
oh yeah, and the giant room he walks into full of bizarre alien plants and a single woman standing in the middle doing nothing.
Yeah, it says, and finds instead a paradise, a multi-tiered garden of unearthly delights, a pleasure dome to rival, nay, humble Kublai Khans. And it is a seriously, like, awesome off-world place of shapes and sizes. And then this woman who is, well, it definitely looks like Dr. McEvil, except, I mean, Madam McEvil, except, I'm not going to get used to that one, except she's now green instead of pink, but still has the exact same very, very revealing clothes and
Yeah,
bald.
yeah. Um, Also, Daredevil, with his blindness, is able to see that she's the most strikingly beautiful woman he's ever, quote unquote, seen,
Even without hair.
even without hair.
He mentions that in there. And also, it's just you notice she's like super able to like be quiet that she can't even like he can't even hear her like completely. She looks like she's stone cold dead.
Mhm.
Um, And then, of course, he goes to see if she's alive, and she, well, smacks him in the face and begins to explain her backstory, which, even following this, is pretty much daughter of Titan.
Priestess of Titan,
Yes, priestess of Titan.
which it's even more interesting because Daredevil was apparently her intention, because she said she was in the process of preparing for our meeting. So either we've got hints of her mental abilities with a certain amount of precognition, or this was another situation where she was expecting Daredevil to show up.
Well,
Um,
and she also thinks that that Daredevil is a Thanos thrall, which I've now read all these things about Thanos. What are the Thanos thralls? Is that something that was in a storyline I missed in the podcast?
Um, it could be a reference to remember that guy that the controller
Mm.
who was mind controlling people back in one of the Avengers issues, or no, it was Captain Marvel.
yeah,
That was like, yeah. So there were people that he was mind controlling through the controller, but yeah, I think it's mostly just an excuse to like say, oh no, she's not really evil. She just thought that everybody was controlled by Thanos.
hmm.
That makes sense.
Yet why would she name herself Madame McEvil if she's not trying to be evil?
Dang it,
Gonna find a
Jeff! You
hole to
just hurt
slip
my
on.
brain a little bit there.
Um,
Ah,
and this is also the part where we start to see
Well,
that.
they all,
Go
what'd
ahead.
you say?
was that me? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear.
Oh well, I said something a long time ago. Man, internet's slow. I was gonna say in this they retcon it to say she says, "Oh, the computer named me Madam McEvil," even though we clearly saw in the last issue that she's told the computer, "No, no, I prefer Madam McEvil." So yeah, they decided they liked the costume design, but wanted to make her not evil.
Okay. But also, this is where we start to see Madame McEvil's mental abilities,
I also
where
like,
she's
by the
not
way,
just.
you go
Sorry.
on, Jeff. Finish up.
I was going to say where she's not just apparently a super scientist who doesn't know how any of her stuff works.
Also, Daredevil, I like in this whole thing because he's just going like, "What the hell is going on? I don't know who Thanos is. Thrall's Titan." It's kind of like, "Why did you choose me? Why would Thanos choose me?" Poor Daredevil.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have a very cool bar in this place, and you'd think with a giant, really cool dome like this, she'd have her bar back.
One would think so, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess she's
She,
Well,
she's
this
got cold
is
turkey and good guy now.
yeah, this is Priestess Moondragon who doesn't drink.
You're right.
which is
Yes.
why she's not belligerent.
There
Um,
we go.
she's still haughty because she beat the crap out of Daredevil, but
Mm-hmm.
um, so then yeah, we actually go into the backstory where she got involved in her parents' crash, then she got picked up by Mentor. Oh, and then we actually have her being known as Moondragon now.
Because she was named for the cosmos slithering beast of interstellar legend, which I know that it comes in. I'm like reading the new Guardians of the Galaxy now, and the actual Moondragon comes in. And I don't know if that ever comes in before this as well. But that is something that happens in the new ones where like they actually meet the cosmic beast that she is named after.
Hmm.
It's
I
gigantic.
don't. I'm sure we'll get to it.
Hmm.
Oh hey, and later on
Uh,
we get baby pictures of Thanos.
Yes, we should talk about that for a sec. As she describes her backstory, they do have baby Thanos pictures, and he looks gloom and awesome, like a 5-year-old who could punch a 10-year-old in the face.
And the little sort of tight blue sailor suit thingy is not terribly flattering.
Yeah. And now I don't know if this comes before or after the Drax issue, but it does make they do make it even very similar of a crash if it happened to her to Drax, uh, with like that same car crash. So I don't know if this happens before or after, but it does look like you could easily. I don't know how much they added that plan that they're going to be father and daughter, but there's some definitely good knowledge that it could be the same thing.
well, this is before the crash is revealed in Drax, because like that's where they retcon him to be her father.
Mm.
Yeah, because in here she says that it was an auto crash on Earth that my parents died, so she was under the impression that they both died.
Well, they did.
Well, but in the fact that she doesn't know that Drax exists and his spirit kept track
Right.
and everything.
Except
Um,
let's pause for a sec. I like that they had two stories then of like, with Drax's origin story and hers that in two origin stories there are giant car crashes and then alien beings take them and save their lives. Like is that just a thing now? Is that like an insurance policy you could have now? Which is like the if you get in a car crash, you can come back as a celestial being insurance policy? Because I would buy that one. And we could
yeah.
call it like, I don't know, Titan insurance.
Although also interesting is the fact that going forward into the Drax backstory, we've got the car crash happening because Thanos shot the car, and then the soul got taken up and Kronos stopped it, but he did that at Mentor's request. And in this one, we have Mentor showing up on the planet itself to grab Moondragon and haul her off to Titan. So all of these things were happening within minutes of each other. So at one
Yeah.
point, he was standing on whatever planet that was, talking to Kronos, and then all of a sudden he decided to teleport to Earth, ran across this little girl, grabbed her, took her back to Titan.
Sure. We didn't want to leave.
Cosmic beings.
Yeah. So I should note that the pencils on Titan section is drawn by Jim Starlin again.
Oh, we talked about that earlier, Jesse. We got it.
Okay, cool.
Now they also, let's just pause on this a sec. Are we implying or saying that like Mentor does this? He says this. He also says it was a casualty of one of our missionary expeditions. So let's think about like the timing. Let's just try to put continuity together here in our brain hurting. Thanos comes, blows up a car that sees him. A few minutes later on a missionary expedition, his father goes there, sends someone to pick up the exploded guy from Thanos, and then picks up this little girl. Wow.
Yes, and picks up this little girl just because,
Yeah,
whereas the
really,
request
there's
to
no really
keep
good reason, is
Drax
there?
was directly related to Thanos. And much less, we've got Moondragon here is a tiny child, and Thanos is a tiny child. And yet Drax was created to fight Thanos.
See, I'm under the impression that um, like Drax isn't created yet. That
So,
happens much later, and they just
So
pick
they
his
just hold
soul
him in
out from.
stasis until he's created?
Uh, they just pull his soul from wherever it is. Don't ask.
well, but the request happened when his soul was headed off.
Well, I don't know. When we see that first impression, it says nothing about souls, and he's built from nothing from the Earth of Titan. You know, so
Look, we're just
I,
trying to get some continuity here, Jesse, okay?
I understand that. I'm just saying there's no way that they created him
Yeah,
at the same. Um, but yes, they're definitely kind of shoehorning back stories together.
yeah.
It
Yes.
doesn't actually fit that well. Um,
And that also turns out, if I'm correct, that she is very, very strong mentally and powerfully. They learned that at a young age, that she is a destined strong child.
Oh wait,
And
wait.
because.
I just read a little bit further. It wasn't Mentor who picked up Moondragon. It was Emlot, apparently.
Mm, no,
So he just looks a lot like Mentor.
no, no, no. They have to summon Emlot to take her to the Shaolin Monastery.
Well, we've got, and I fully understand why Emlot brought her to Titan.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. Trying to work out a backstory of a very complicated character.
So that makes more sense then, because then Emlot can
Yes.
bring Moondragon, and then maybe Kronos saw that Moondragon was going to be this thing and was like, you know what? There's this floating soul of her father around. I'll just snag that and hold on to it for a little bit.
That works a
sure.
little better.
But
But then there's a lot of her training in the Shaolin Monastery to become like the ultimate monk, learning all the science, all the meditation, all the martial arts. She's pretty much she becomes the most well-known athlete and geneticist on Titan, and becomes an at-peace monk, which then becomes a crazy supervillain.
mhm. And once again, she believes she was the only survivor of Titan, even though we find out later that
Right.
Mentor and Eros, and probably a few other Titans, I think, survived.
hmm But but Thanos did destroy it, and he has agents on Earth, and she wants to fight him. And then it is revealed that the reason she had Iron Man and Submariner fight each other was to study their fighting techniques so she could get stronger and um and help defeat the Thralls. Yes. I don't know. I got anything more than that on that one. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, so at this point, she's convinced that San Francisco is Thanos controlled and must be cleansed. And Daredevil's like, wait, we're totally not bad. What are you doing?
And I like that she's you are a raving paranoid. Like she's just like you are crazy. And I actually like that by the way. It comes in later. Everyone thinks she's crazy for saying she's from space and dealing with Thanos. Like you can just tell this is so out of Daredevil's wheelhouse of like things. Daredevil's like I'm fighting petty street criminals and kingpins of crime. And I'm helping Black Widow fight Kraven the Hunter, and you're from a galactic being thing. Come on, like, yeah, Daredevil's just way outside of his area.
So yeah, she
Which, by the way,
feels that
then I'm confused. Yeah, go on, Jesse. You are very
she
slow,
helped
by the
create.
way, Jesse. You
Yeah,
break up a lot.
I'm gonna go reset my router.
All right. Oh, Jeff, we'll just chat about this for a sec. This is the weirdest comic, is it not?
It is. Because we've got all of
Yes.
this strange backstory that's getting set up. And then, so she's decided that San Francisco is Thanos control and then must be cleansed. She also refers that her human ally is the one who's been telling her that all of these people are Thanos thralls. And then
So
she
we got,
proceeds.
is that in Captain Marvel then in one of them? Or does she have another?
They don't make a reference to it.
Oh, okay. Her allies.
Yeah, she just says that she constructed this fortress and made a human ally, and with his aid, she deduced that Daredevil was a thrall.
Yes. And then to wipe out San Francisco, she creates three creations. Or at least I believe I don't know if they're creations or if they were villains before that have become like remade, but
I
she
think
does
they're
make,
previous villains that she's
yeah.
just
And
reactivating, because we've
hmm
got the Dark Messiah, and they say he was short-circuited um, in a Daredevil Black Widow.
mm.
A recent one, in fact, because it was 98 and we're only in 104. Um, then we've got Ramrod, who just suddenly wakes up from a coma.
Actually, he doesn't just wake up. I love the line, "Hey, you're in a coma. You can't." Like, I like that he wakes up and he's like, "You can't get up. You're supposed to be in a coma." That's good nursing and doctoring right there.
Indeed. Um, and then we've got Angar the Screamer, who all of a sudden, who is clearly sane at the start, and then all of a sudden goes completely insane, and then proceeds to use his screamer abilities, the demon song.
Let's pause for a sec though. This one page deserves talking about because Angar the Screamer is the most 70s thing I have ever seen.
particularly
Can we
with the
say that this is the most hippie thing you could have?
particularly with the swastika headband.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Well, it's that no, but I think that's supposed to be the Chinese symbol one headband thing.
yeah, it's supposed to be the yeah,
hmm
but yeah,
But
he's got the vest that, of course, is open with just the two tiny straps,
hmm
and it's covered in like flowers and swirls and stars and stuff,
and
and
the
he's
most
got.
amazingly long, locky red hair
Mhm.
that you could have.
It was
And
the
let's also
70s.
talk about this thing. Where, by the way, I like that you said he starts sane because you know, Jeff, any sane man starts with a line. I am David Angar. I am sane. I keep telling myself that, Janice, and yet I want to so badly, but when I remember, he literally has to tell himself, I am sane. Now, which sane person has to do that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then he becomes Angar the Screamer.
Who apparently can rip apart reality by screaming.
Yes. He is probably the best villain I've seen. Like, I mean, I don't know if we're doing recaps on our show or on the page of just good screenshots, but Angar the Screamer, everything about him is awesome.
Yeah, he's quite a character.
hmm Just pausing
So
for a sec.
anyway,
Jesse, are you back in?
I believe so.
Okay.
Good.
I reset my router. Hopefully things will go better.
Yay.
So we should move things a bit along if we're going to try and cover as much as we said we'd cover.
We've been
So
talking
then,
about her. Yeah. To
oh,
catch you up, Jesse, we've been talking about uh, her plans, Angar the Screamer, like what she's doing, and we're over there.
Yeah, so we cut back to Daredevil and Moondragon. He like grabs her, is like, "Why did you create all these villains?" And she's like, "Unhand me, you lout," or whatever. Uh, okay, maybe not quite that, but what? How dare you touch me? So anyway, eventually she mind probes Daredevil and realizes that no, he's not a thrall of Thanos and is in fact a good person. And now they have to team up and beat all the villains that she created.
Yeah, she's like the worst villain ever, or the worst hero ever. She makes a bunch of villains and then realizes, oh no, I've made a mistake. You're not a thrall. I should
yes.
not destroy San Francisco.
Which she confirms with the same mental powers that she asserted before. and yet she didn't think to double check before mind assaulting Daredevil and setting all this up.
Or never thought to, do a mental probe on Kerwin J. Broderick, her supposed ally who is actually evil and shows up to shoot her in the back.
Yes.
And I get the feeling we're supposed to know who Kevin J. Broderick is.
Yes, he's
Daredevil.
yeah, he's basically some kind of corporate tycoon evil syndicate guy in San Francisco that Daredevil's been dealing with for some number of issues. It's not that important.
What I just don't get is Moondragon is supposed to be this super intelligent, super person, and we're already seeing that now she does have mental powers. We know she's a martial artist. She's really smart, but she can't ever think maybe I should have just mind probed some people instead of send monsters. She's
Or maybe, invest a little bit more effort in this guy who's saying, oh yeah, San Francisco is completely Titan controlled. You should totally just make bad guys and have them run around and destroy things.
yes. Oh, it just is so good.
It's not a very good transformation. I mean, I can see that they decided they liked this character, they wanted to make her good, and this is the story where they'll do the twist reveal that no, she is good, but it's not very well done.
We're just keep going over that as we go on because we got to appreciate these comics for what they are. Oh, but at the end, it is important. I guess she does summon the main soon-to-be villain, which is Karak, a giant green Hulk takeoff that's made of Earth. Or do we not know that yet? No, we'll find it later.
Well, at the end of the page,
no.
it says it is Terex, and what he is Earth itself.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the end of 105.
I do like the ending. Believe it or not, there is a logical explanation for this.
No, I don't believe it.
So, last page, end cover, both lie.
Which then jumps to issue 2. Did anybody change on the writer art and all that stuff, Jesse? Or I think they're the same.
It looks the same. Steve Gerber, writer. Don Heck, artist. Maybe the inkers and colors changed. Inker Sal Trapani. Letter S. Lefferman. Colorist Gio Roussos. And then editor Roy Thomas. So Steve Gerber, we should remember from... you guys probably weren't on those episodes, but he did a lot of the early original Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
Anyway, now we go on to this one where it is supervillains taking havoc everywhere and just keep destroying everything, while Moondragon is unconscious and Daredevil, it's really just evil money guy, business tycoon doing stuff, and villains going everywhere.
He monologues for a bit and then eventually tells his backstory of why he hates Daredevil. It's not important at all. Eventually, he and Daredevil fight. He shoots Daredevil, but his ray gun is almost out of juice, so it only stuns him. And then he decides not to kill the helpless Daredevil on the ground. It's,
What I actually like most is then at some point, Moondragon just goes to him. This is the first person she meets on Earth, and is like, I need help aiding me against protecting this Earth from evil evil Titan Thanos. And, she just goes to a random person and says that to them. And then, of course, what?
It's not a random person. They say that, he's got a reputation as, they've got him set up in Daredevil as, publicly... he's a respected member of the city, and then, but privately he's also in control of all the underground stuff. I'm trying to think of what kind of. I mean, he's almost kind of like a Lex Luthor figure back when Lex Luthor, everyone thinks he's fine, but depends on what era you're looking at. But that's sort of everyone thinks he's good. So she watches the news and oh, this is a respected member of the community, and she goes to him, but turns out he's a mobster because. Daredevil.
And at first, you want to point out until he sees all the machines, and then is like, "I could use these."
Right. I do want to rewind and back up and say that these issues are not just Daredevil; they're Daredevil and the Black Widow, which is interesting because, the last one in this story arc, it switches back to just Daredevil, also starring Black Widow. But
I actually pointed out earlier that it was a very interesting thing that these comics are. I didn't realize for a while that there was a Daredevil and Black Widow comic. Like they were a team.
yeah, so I mean, they're definitely a couple at this point.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, there's a lot of scenes of the rampaging monster that no one can defeat.
And
Um,
Moondragon still being unconscious.
yeah, so Daredevil recovers first, and Moondragon is still alive because her mental powers allow her to slow her heartbeat really slow. I forget if we mentioned that when she first saw him. When he first saw her, he was like, "Is that a statue? No, it is a
Hmm.
person. Her heartbeat's really slow." But
Yeah.
they go to her lab, and they have this hilarious thing where it's like she's instructing him how to use the machinery, and
Yes.
she's
Oh my
like,
God. Yes.
"Turn this yellow dial," and he's like, I can't see." And she's like, "Oh, well, here," and she fixes his blindness like that. Boom.
Yeah. And we get the
Yes.
whole Charles Xavier thing, which when he's not blind, all of a sudden his radar sense goes away.
Kind of, yeah. When does Xavier have?
When he becomes unparalyzed, he loses all of his mental powers.
No, he still has mental powers in the 80s when he walks. He walks all the time and has mental powers.
Really? I thought there
Oh
was a
yeah.
time period where he was unparalyzed and then his mental powers went away.
There might
There
be
might.
pretty much all of the 80s. He's just walking around with mental powers,
Huh?
dating, as they say in Rachel and Miles Explain the X-Men, his space bird girlfriend.
Oh yeah, when he's flying around with
Yeah.
Yeah. They build him a new body in that one. Anyway. Yeah. Eventually, I forget how he gets paralyzed again, but.
But let's
Um.
just reflect how powerful Moondragon is, that she just gives sight to Daredevil. Like,
Yeah.
he.
while she is on death's door, mind you, because the whole point is
Yes.
Right.
they need to put her into the Regenesis computer
Hmm.
so that she can recover. Yeah.
Which, by the way, this
So
computer, you can tell she really hated that old one and she just didn't use it again. Like, that computer sunk with a submarine and she's like, F that AI, not using that guy again. Building a new one that listens.
yeah. So with the machines, they recover, and then they teleport back up to the surface to try and fight. We got some bad guys things going on.
One
Apparently
more, and
they
we have to
drive.
pause again because the coolest villain ever, once again, we got to stop on Angar because the most 70 villain driving his awesome yellow roadster with his, like, scantily clad, completely 70s girlfriend,
Named Janice, so I'm pretty sure there's a hint to
Janice.
that.
Yeah, so awkwardly he drives too close to Terax, and his mere presence causes Janice to age and die. But, you know, 2 feet to the left, it's totally fine.
And even more, though, he doesn't notice. Angar just keeps driving and doesn't notice that his girlfriend is dead in his car.
Yeah.
Well, like a good driver, he keeps his eyes on the road.
There we go. Yeah. And then more fights against villains like Ramrod and Daredevil fighting them, and really,
Yeah,
there's
well, they,
these comics are just a bunch of fight scenes.
they meet up with Black Widow, and they try and fight these guys, and Daredevil is terrible because he doesn't have his radar senses.
Right. But Moondragon, who by the way I just noticed, she is just floating in space levitating.
Yep, one of her mental
Like,
powers.
Yeah.
right.
And it's just bizarre because you've got these fighting scenes, and they're being overpowered and everything. Dark Messiah is about to, completely obliterate Daredevil, and Moondragon's just like, "Ha! Mental powers, boom! You're back to being normal." And she says, "Oh, it's a simple matter, really. A reshuffling of his intraform molecular migration. A pity it will not work on Terex or Ramrod."
Which we ask, why not?
Well, yeah, I mean, because Ramrod has stated before is just a cyborg, so if she can completely molecularly migrate someone's intraform, why won't that work? I mean, Terex is a force of Earth, so maybe that's it. But yeah,
Yeah, at this point, her powers are kind of in flux and only activate as the plot requires.
And then, of course, because as we said, Daredevil can't do anything without his like fighting ability. She then makes Daredevil blind again, which I find it hilarious that she makes Daredevil blind again, which he wants, and he's like just totally okay with it. There's no like mourning or anything. He's like, please, just don't, just make me blind again. Though of course I do like the one thing he says. It doesn't matter. Now I've seen Natasha. That's what I wanted most of all. He does at least get to see Black Widow as as who she is. So he gets to see his girlfriend, and he's very happy about that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he's with his reformed sight, he can defeat Ramrod, and then the issue ends where they confront Terax with Broderick standing on his arm.
But we do get to see one of our recurring characters. Captain Marvel comes in.
Yeah. So next issue, Daredevil and the Black Widow, um, guest
Yeah.
starring the one and only Captain Marvel.
King of San Francisco. Really? Really?
Well, it's a long-standing tradition in San Francisco to have. Well, I guess it was Emperor Norton. Anyway, so yes, this one that Steve Gerber is still writing it, but they've got Bob Brown drew it, Salvage Shima inked it, C. Cheddar lettered it, P. Goldberg colored it, Roy Thomas edited it. It's your turn now. Read it.
And we have giant Terex monster with the control of the partner of Daredevil, or evil guy. What's his name?
Broderick.
Broderick. Yes. Which I like. Daredevil just tries to, kick and punch a giant green earth monster, which, as he said, well, I guess he doesn't know that it originally just, sucked out a woman's life with Angar.
Well, so we should note that before they actually fight, Broderick merges in with the green thing and they become one.
Mm-hmm. And he does kick it, and after he kicks it, he loses powers of his legs. And because it turns out that direct contact with Terex is fatal.
And also because Daredevil's already the handicapped superhero, so let's make him more handicapped.
Let's make him blind and no legs. Yeah. Yeah. And that's that's it. They take him in a car, a police car, they rush him away. And really and then they all feel useless until out of nowhere Captain Marvel comes to fight Terex, which is like, yay, Captain Marvel returns.
Well, because they finally had a threat worthy of Captain Marvel noticing.
Yeah.
He's not going to show up to beat Kraven the Hunter, but, Terax, the Earth creature.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the Titans sent Captain Marvel after him.
Yes. Which is the part I love, because when they do have it later, he says something later, and the only reaction Black Widow has is, "Oh my God, you're not crazy, Moondragon." Like this whole time, they're just thinking, "Yes, Moondragon, you're absolutely crazy. There's no place called Titan."
Yeah.
But we got to get this great part. So Captain Marvel and Ramrod fight, and Ramrod gets knocked out or whatever, and then after the explosion, Rick Jones is there, and some kid's like, "Where'd Captain Marvel go?" And Rick Jones goes whistling off. "Oh, he's off in the negative zone." And then, so there's all this bad guy evil stuff going on, and Rick Jones is now here, and he goes and gets an ice cream.
Yes, he does.
And then Captain Marvel yells at him for going and getting an ice cream.
Why are you getting an ice cream?
Oh,
there's a battle going on here.
You are the most terrible sidekick ever.
Is he a sidekick? Isn't he technically Captain Marvel?
And
he's not Captain Marvel. They just have to switch places because of that weird negative zone thing. It's terrible. But he certainly is a sidekick when he's not merged with Captain Marvel. He hangs out with Captain America for a while. Poor Captain America.
Yeah. And can we pause for a second? Also reflect that not only does he get ice cream, there's a guy just selling ice cream as Terex is destroying the city very near them, and Ramrod just burst into a wall like a block away. Like, on this block, all these supervillains are everywhere, and he just decides, yeah, good place to sell some ice cream.
And furthermore, his his joke about the flavors of ice cream being DD cherry, widow licorice, or Terex lime.
Yeah, it's great.
Got, gotta make a profit somewhere.
Although boring
And
Rick Jones just wants two vanilla.
yes.
Oh, Rick
And I
Jones.
do love how Captain Marvel yells at Rick Jones, and Rick Jones' response is, "Oh, it's you."
Yes. And then I love after that, like finally we cut to can we just cut back to Angar and his amazingness once more? This time
Certainly.
he has tears inside his amazing beard stash that is along with his amazing locks and everything. And only now, after driving all this way, after all this time, Angar learns that he's had a dead woman in his car.
Well,
Guy is the craziest man I've ever seen. How many drugs is this guy on?
and his car has changed colors.
I would just say that's the dark.
It's green now as opposed to. Yeah.
Oh, and his car changes colors. Yes, well, that's just editing.
So I like that he, tries to hold her and she crumbles to dust. So like him touching her is enough to crumble her to dust, but driving around in the car, not enough vibrations to dust her.
Yeah.
Yes. She manages. Yes, no. It is the. Yes. I love Angar the Screamer, Master of the Mindstorm.
Well, and
Uh,
there's further points to this where he's perfectly sane, but he's not sane, but he's perfectly sane, and he was willing to rip apart an entire room of people with his mind storm. Then she dies, and all of a sudden he's like, "It's so senseless, so wrong. You never hurt him. I was only trying to help. I only wanted a better world, a world where people could breathe and love and dream without fear."
I really want more Angar the Screamer. He is probably my favorite villain ever because I just want him to come back now in like the year 2000, and he's still just this hippie crazy guy. But now he's old, so it's like gray locks everywhere and this long beard instead of the mustache.
Uh, and then the whole, every single time he talks about himself, it's Angar the Screamer, master of the Mindstorm.
Well,
Gotta
apparently
include.
his most recent appearance was Amazing Spider-Man Annual in 2015.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Angar the Screamers in 2015? Hold on.
I'm
Uh,
thinking they
I
probably
read
revamped
that.
him.
Probably. He's only got maybe 30 or 40 appearances over the years, but yeah. Some Thunderbolts, some Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., some Spider-Man, some Spider-Woman, Iron
Oh no.
Fist.
Even later on, he still looks the same. His stash gets bigger. Much
Excellent.
bigger stash. Oh, this is wonderful. I could
So,
look on go on Image Online and go check Angar the Screamer. Every image of him is the best ever. He's got the best costume there could be. Oh, he is older now. So I guess when he's older, he just is less muscular because he's old now. But no, he's a legit villain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my happy moments.
So now we've um, caught up with Daredevil, who is finding the giant hole in the wall um, and putting Ramrod back in prison, and saying, "We've got to take out Terex." And Moondragon saying, "You're crazy!" And
And tells him to surrender.
yes, which he retorts with, "What is it with you two? When I suggested surrender a half hour ago, it was unthinkable, and now."
Yes. Well, they have to have his woman drama.
I guess so. And then Captain Marvel comes back, and Daredevil almost punches him because he's not sure.
he can sense he's powerful, but he doesn't know who he is. Yeah.
Um, and then we've got our recap of Thanos. And
Which a few things on this page are important. I like. Like he has to tell Daredevil that that's Captain Marvel because he's blind, and uh, and then I just love every like Moondragon. This whole line here, like So this is Moondragon. Forgive the Terran captain. He's been under severe strain. Tell me, were you sent by the Titans, by Mentor and Eros? And then Captain Marvel goes, you know about Titan? Then it is true. You are Moondragon. The Titans were surprised and pleased to learn you might still be alive. And then Black Widow just does the best. Wait, you mean her story's for real? She really is from another planet? A moon of Saturn called Titan? That's the only part of this I couldn't believe, that the scope of this conflict could be so big. Like, finally, Black Widow is like, oh shit, this really is all true? We've reached bad territory.
We are way outside of our wheelhouse here.
Exactly. Like, you could tell this has got to be, or maybe I don't know if there is, like, all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything. I think the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has really started, and, Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. But you can tell there's just a little bit of here of her going, all right, we just reached the level that is way beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we get a little bit of recap of the stuff we've already covered way back in episodes 3 through 5, I think, which is, Thanos' takeover of Titan and all that.
Right, go back, see that.
And we also find out that Terex was a creation of a Titan scientist that Moondragon apparently brought to Earth. And then we also find out that Terex can be destroyed by unlife.
Yes. I forgot about Unlife. Damn it. Why couldn't I keep forgetting about Unlife? Because it has the best part of it. You mean death? No. Death is not Unlife.
It's merely the absence of life.
Right.
And then he says, but now it's unattainable, so we'll have to focus on Kerwin Broderick.
Using Angar the Screamer's scream of madness.
Yeah. But first, previous associate of Guy shows up to stop Terex, the thing that's sucking life out of everywhere and going to destroy all of San Francisco, shoots him, then begs for his life.
Yeah.
And then we get the appearance of Matt Murdock, who's come to say, hey, get out of here. Let the heroes handle this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was a culmination of a long-running plot that none of us read.
Yeah. By the way, I think we should say that really is just how it ends, kind of suddenly like this. She uses Angar's Screamer, gets the guy to go there, and then he dies, or gets the Screamer to kind of break him out of it, the horror of unlife, and then Kerwin J. Broderick is dead, and Terex just disappears, I guess.
Yeah, well, there was some sort of mind meld between Angar and Moondragon to do it, but yeah, it's kind of confusing and just sort of anticlimactic. And Captain Marvel
Yep.
flies off like, see ya.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's Moondragon. That's her
Well,
origin, right? This is, you could say her origin is?
did you have 108 as well?
Did I? I don't know. I thought that was a lesson. Maybe, hold on. That's the one I got. Did I not download one?
Yeah, 108 is in the list.
Okay, you guys keep talking. I'll catch up.
And 108 does have Moondragon in it. So.
You guys keep talking. I'll catch up.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so, yeah, that main story kind of is ended.
Yes, although I do want to point out, Angar manages to stop Terex by creating the illusion of unlife, which is apparently enough to destroy him. So you don't even actually need this unlife thing. You just need him to think the unlife thing is there, and then he's just defeated. Yeah. 108.
So this one, it switches back to Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, co-starring the Deadly Black Widow in a smaller box. And this one is The Beatles Strikes by Night. But still got writer Steve Gerber, artist Bob Brown, inker Paul Gulacy, letterer John Costanza, colorist Petra Goldberg, editor Roy Thomas. So this one starts off, we've got Daredevil and Black Widow doing some exercises, and Black Widow is like pestering or trying to get Daredevil to decide whether or not he's they're still a couple, and what his relationship with Moondragon is. And he's like, I don't know, I haven't analyzed it yet. And she's like, analyzed? I'm talking about feelings, not legal briefs. Do you know the difference, don't you? And then their bickering is interrupted by a random mugging. They beat up the muggers, but Black Widow doesn't stop and has to be held back by Daredevil, who slaps her across the face, which is, you know. Hmm. And everybody else is muted, so I'll just keep going. Okay. She disappears while they're taking the police, and they meet back at her
Well, so I'm
place.
now confused here. Like, tell me about this. Did I miss something in this, or is just Moondragon hanging out at Daredevil's house with a Christmas
Moondagger,
tree?
that one. So, yeah, this is some time has passed, and now there's, basically a bit of a love triangle tension of, you know, Daredevil's like, I don't know if I like the Black Widow anymore. There's this cool, hot, bald chick that floats. Um,
Yeah, but like, is there any inter between this, or is this just the next time appearance of Moondragon?
this is the next. I mean, there's no. This is the next issue. There's nothing in between.
Oh, so
So they
she's just been a house guest and got it.
yeah, they just did a, sometime later. Um, so they learned that Foggy Nelson is in the hospital, who
Hmm.
is, Matt Murdock's longtime old friend back in New York.
And Moondragon offers to just take them there in their spaceship.
Um,
She's got a spaceship because she's a priestess of Titan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Daredevil or Black Widow doesn't want to go.
Because Foggy Nelson set her up with a trumped up murder charge, which she doesn't hate him for, but she never wants to see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's tension. She stays behind. So it's Daredevil and Moondragon flying to. Um,
Oh, but I do love this page. Come on, this is a wonderful page here.
which one?
Now, the page when they're flying in their spaceship, because the beginning is just so.
Keenan, you're turning all static.
Oh. Do I sound better now?
Nope.
Same.
Better?
There we go.
Alright, so I gotta share this page, though, I love with them, because it says, when they're flying in their spaceship, now, Titan priestess and blind superhero hurtle upward in space in a craft obtained at her undersea fortress off the coast of San Francisco shore, on a course resembling an equilateral triangle with each leg some 3,000 miles in length. We fly up one leg, down the other, and we put ourselves in New York. Moondragon, that's fascinating, but I wanted to talk about us, not triangles. But now that I think about it, they may be the same subject. Like, literally, they're like, we're going to talk about love triangles. Let's just throw it in the most blatant way possible.
Yeah, and, Daredevil's met this woman very recently, already fallen in love with her. She's already fallen in love with him, but they can't do it because they're from two completely different worlds of existence.
See, that's not what I read.
Then what did you read, Jesse?
So, certainly he's okay. Well, she says, "You want to say you find yourself strongly attracted to me? I know. I've known since the months ago when I probed your psyche. So I guess it's been months since the last issue. Learned
2 months
who
to
and
be
what you.
exact.
Yeah. Since then, I've been similarly drawn to you, as you must be aware.
I
It
actually
is
like, by the
time
way,
now.
that is like in their first time meeting. She mind probes him, and you could tell, like, in the mind probe, she's like, this woman is hot. Like, this is Daredevil's brain.
But he's like, it's time now to forget that infatuation. Forget, lady, I don't know how they do it on Titan, but on Earth, it's not that easy. Is there a reason? And she's like, a single, very sound one, I'm afraid. Our respective orientations toward life and the cosmos. So I read that as subtext that she's a lesbian and not actually interested in men. Because
But she's got the strange attraction to him.
sure, she could, like him,
Well,
but
because later Moondragon is a lesbian, right? Am I correct on this?
that is correct. Yes.
Got it. Yes.
So, and
That's
that's not the
interesting. I'd
first.
be interested if they actually did that, started it right here.
Well, I'm sure it's not totally intentional because she does like hook up with someone at some point in the future, but that's from different writers.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's like um, later on when we see her next in the Avengers, like Iron Man is hitting on her, and she's like, "We're from different worlds. Just I'm not interested in you." So she's definitely got this kind of standoffish towards relationship thing.
Hmm.
And really, like in these few panels of relationships, it pretty much ends because she drops off Daredevil on at Foggy Nelson's and then just flies back into space.
Yeah, then the issue continues, but I don't know if we care. But
No.
there's the
It's
Beetle and
yeah,
Foggy
which has got to
Nelson.
be some of the stupidest costume and weapon design I have ever seen. He's got extendo suction cups on his hands.
Well, let's
Uh,
talk about this for a sec. By the way, on their last panel, uh, I going on your thing, Jesse, that like these are the hints that she might be a lesbian. I love. Well, this is where I get off, I suppose. Where do you go from here? Into deep space for a time, to rest, to meditate, to be free of my heart. And I wonder if that whole time she's just lying to make Daredevil feel better. Like she's like, I just need to go to space to meditate and rest and get away. Like I would love like that. That's actually it. It's like she's just trying to make this excuse to Daredevil of like, yeah, I gotta go to space. Sorry, dude. I don't know. Seems like a better actually thing what she's doing now.
Or it could be the whole, this is the 70s and she's a lesbian, but it's not okay to be a lesbian, so she's trying to
Hmm.
be normal, but she
Yeah.
has these feelings and yeah.
but that's okay.
Or
She's a
or
priestess.
maybe it's code for the fact that she's heading back to San Francisco to go console Black Widow.
That'd be the best.
There's some headcanon for you.
Uh, no, but Moondragon actually does fall in love with who is it? Who is her main? There's somebody that she is with, and it's the woman in
Captain Marvel.
Really?
Well, Captain Marvel's daughter, who becomes Captain Marvel and then becomes Quasar.
Oh, okay. So really? I thought it was somebody else. It's actually her and Carol Danvers.
No, the Carol Danvers isn't Captain Marvel's daughter.
Oh.
Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel.
And then becomes
Right.
Captain Marvel.
Yes, this is a lot like yes, Carol Danvers is now Captain Marvel, but way back, it's only relatively recently that they finally let Carol Danvers become Captain Marvel. There were like 3 or 4 Captain Marvels in between. Um, but yeah, so Phyla-Vell, who is a artificially cloned daughter of Captain Marvel, we'll get to her sometime in the future. um, it becomes Captain Marvel for a while, and then eventually becomes Quasar instead. But yeah, it's Moondragon and Phyla-Vell.
That's it. And that's Moondragon's origin, I guess. When does she come back after this? Or she becomes an Avenger, doesn't she, for a little bit?
Well,
Yeah.
so the
An
next
off and
time,
on adventure?
yeah, the next time we see her is in the Thanos War, where they're fighting over the Cosmic Cube, and she kind of helps out then, and then so we don't really need to recover that, and then we'll take a look again when we get to the end of her story, or the part where she sort of joins the Avengers.
I'm probably gonna have to go, guys. I have a hold on. I got a little one here.
You have your own little Miss Marvel there.
Uh-huh. Who's that, Lily? That's Jesse. Do you remember Jesse?
She's like,
All right. I gotta go.
Understandable.
Is there
Need to
anything
go
last?
too,
Well,
so.
before I go though, is there any last things we want to talk about? Moondragon.
No, I think that's it. Like I said, she just sort of disappears, and Daredevil goes on with his stories uninterrupted. I don't know if he gets back together with Black Widow at this point or not. I know eventually they split up, and then she joins the Avengers and stays away from Daredevil for a while. Um, and it's funny. And then I think Hawkeye goes to San Francisco to hang out there. So like all her ex-boyfriends are in San Francisco. It's But
Got to
All right.
consolidate those X's.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
so
Daredevil doesn't Daredevil sleep like with everybody in the Marvel universe?
not everybody, but he gets around.
Mhm. And then, yeah, so that is Moondragon's origin and her crazy little origin story. And by origin, we mean like supervillain Madam McEvil turns okay and helps Daredevil foil her own plan, and then has a relationship out of nowhere with Daredevil because Daredevil thinks any woman is attractive.
Hmm. Well, he can't see anything, so he just knows general body shape.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. He's very superficial in that way.
All right. Want to sign us out, Jeff? Jesse?
Mommy, what is his name?
That's Jeff. That's our friend Jeff. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So yeah, thanks for listening. That was an interesting look at Moondragon. Now we kind of know why we were a bit confused when she appeared in the thing. But she evolves to become an interesting character, and we will see
No.
some of those transformations in the future. Uh, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.